This is J. Krishnamurti's fifth public discussion in Saanen, 1969.
Shall we go on with what we were talking about yesterday? It is important, I think, to understand the nature and the beauty of observation, of seeing. We were saying yesterday, weren't we, that as long as the mind is in any way distorted by health, by neurotic promptings and feelings, by any ambition, snobbishness, and the pursuit of power, position, fear, sorrow, such a mind cannot possibly listen, watch, see. And we went into the question of how a mind that is superficial, dull, the superficiality may be very learned, very clever, highly entertaining, philosophically, religiously, or in any other way. And a dull mind, with all its wasteful energy trying to become very smart, clear, aware. Such a mind cannot possibly observe, see. And the art of seeing, listening, watching is not a thing to be cultivated, is not a thing of evolution, gradual growth. As one is aware of danger, there is immediate action. The instinctual response of the body, the memory, and action. Instantaneous, altogether. It's been conditioned that way, to meet danger, so that it responds instantly. Otherwise there is destruction, physical destruction. And we are asking whether it is possible to act in the very scene in which there is no conditioning at all. When one meets danger, there has been conditioning. The condition being, be careful from childhood. Watch where you are going. Don't go near a precipice. Don't fall into the river. And so on. And that has been conditioned, this mind. And so when there is any danger, it responds instantly, based upon its conditioning. Now, can a mind, including the brain, respond so freely and instantly, and therefore act to any form of distortion. That is, we said yesterday, perception, action, and expression are all one. They are not divided, broken up. The very seeing is the acting, which is the expression of that seeing. When there is an awareness of fear, to observe it. So intimately, and the very observation of it is the freeing of it, which is action. And if we could go into that little bit this morning, because I feel that's very important to go into it, because we might be able to penetrate into the unknown. But a mind that is in any way deeply conditioned by its own fears, ambitions, greed and despair and all the rest of it, cannot possibly penetrate into something that requires an extraordinary, healthy, sane, balanced, harmonious being, living. So our question is whether a mind, the brain, the whole being, be aware of a particular form of perversion, particular form of striving, violence, and seeing it ended. Not gradually, but instantly. Which means not allowing time to occur between perception and acting. As you see danger, there is no time interval. Instant action takes place. Please, this is a dialogue. I'm just introducing or talking about what we were saying yesterday. So you have to share in this, not just merely listen. See, we are used to the idea, which is our peculiar conditioning, that we will gradually become clear, gradually become wise, enlightened, intelligent. Day after day, watch, practice, act, and eventually, when you are about to die, you will have this extraordinary feeling of clarity. And that is what we are used to, and that is the pattern of our culture and our conditioning, both religious and all the rest of it. And we are saying this gradual process for the mind to free itself from fear or violence is to further fear and to encourage further violence. So, is it possible to end violence not only outwardly but deep down at the very roots of our being, this sense of aggression, pursuit of power, the very seeing of it completely ended without allowing time to come into being? Can we discuss that this morning a little bit? Because if we allow time between the seeing and the acting, the interval, the lag between what is and what should be, both ideologically, hopefully, and the desire to get rid of what is in order to achieve or become or be something else, this time interval one must understand very, very closely. Because we think in those terms. From childhood we are brought up, educated, to think eventually, slowly, gradually, we will become or be something. Outwardly, technologically, one can see it is, time is necessary. I can't become a carpenter, first-class carpenter, without spending many years at it. Or a physicist or a mathematician. I may have the intuitive, I dislike to use that word intuitive, I apologize, withdraw that word. One may have the clarity of seeing a mathematical issue but quite when one is young. And one realizes time is necessary to learn a language, to acquire a technique, to do anything outwardly, and to cultivate a memory that demands the learning of a new technique or a new language. Time is absolutely necessary. I can't speak German tomorrow or even the next minute. I need many months or many years. I know nothing about electronics, and to find out, to learn about it, I need many, many months or perhaps many years. So don't let us confuse the time element that's necessary in learning a technique, going to the moon, learning how to swim, to play golf. One hasn't played golf for many years, but it doesn't matter. And the danger of time or allowing time to interfere with perception and action. Will not children talk about growing up? Or we talk to them about growing up? A child has to grow up. He has to learn, poor chap, so many things. And when one says you must grow up, it's rather a derogatory, abusive word, grow up. Or we should be mature, for God's sake.
So, there is partial change within us.
Beg pardon?
Partial change does exist psychologically within us.
Partial change psychologically does exist within us, of course. Obviously, one has been angry, or one is angry, and one says, I mustn't be angry, and gradually works at it, and brings about a partial state when you are a little less angry, more irritable, and more controlled. I don't mean that. Then what do you mean, madam?
I mean something that you have had and you have dropped.
Something that you have had and you have dropped.
And you even may have confusion again.
And you may have confusion again.
It's not the same.
Yes, but it's not always the same confusion. It's a little modified. Sir, I must answer this lady. So you are saying, aren't you, that there is a modified continuity. I may drop depending on somebody, going through the pain of dependence and the ache of loneliness, and say, I will no longer be dependent. And perhaps you will be able to drop it. And so you say there is certain change taking place. And the next dependence will not be exactly the same as it was before. And again, you go into it and you drop it, and so on and on and on and on. Now we are asking whether it is possible to see the whole nature of dependency and instantly be free of it, not gradually. As you would act instantly when there is danger. Please, this is really quite an important issue into which we should go, not only verbally, but deeply, inwardly. The implications, watch the whole business of it. You know, the whole of Asia believes in reincarnation. That is, I'm just follow this little bit. That is, one will be born next life again, depending on how you have lived this life. If you have lived brutally, aggressively, destructively, you are going to pay for it jolly well next life. You don't necessarily become an animal, which is just a silly business, but you go back to a human state, but more living a life more painful, more destructive, because you have not lived now a life of beauty. But those who believe in this idea, in this belief of reincarnation, they believe only in word, but not in the depth of the meaning of that word. Because what you do now matters infinitely for tomorrow. Because tomorrow, which is next life, you're jolly well going to pay for it. So, this idea in the East and also here in the West, with all its different forms, is essentially the same. This idea of gradually attaining heaven. And so on and on and on. So there is always this time element. The what is and what should be. And to achieve what should be requires time. Time being effort, concentration, attention, and as one has not attention, concentration, but this constant effort, one must practice attention, which requires time. And doing all this time, by then one is weary, dead, lack of energy, finished. So there must be a different way altogether of tackling this problem. So one must understand perception, seeing, and action. Both. They are not separate, they are not divided. So we have more or less understood what it means to see, to observe. And we must equally inquire into the question of action, the doing, or having done, or will do. So, what is action? The doing. The doing, may I go on, or am I talking too much? You rather listen than partake in this discussion.
Can I ask a question? How would a blind man who has no perception act?
How would a blind man who has no perception act? Have you ever tried for a week putting a band around your eyes and living? Have you ever tried it? We did, for fun. You know, so this is, you develop other sensitivities. Your senses have become much more sharp, clear. Before you come to the wall or the chair or the desk, you already know it is there. We are talking of being blind to ourselves inwardly. We are terribly aware of the other things outwardly. But inwardly we are blind. And that's what we are talking about. There's the good old train. As we said, we talked a little bit about seeing, perception, observing, listening, which are all the same, using different words. Now what is action? Or is action always based on an idea, a principle, a belief, a conclusion, a hope, a despair? If one has an idea, an ideal, and you are conforming to that ideal, then there is an interval between the ideal and the act. In that interval is time. I will act, or I will be that ideal and then act completely. By identifying myself with that ideal, eventually that ideal will act, and there will be no separation between action and the ideal. Now, what takes place when there is this ideal and the action that is approximating itself to the ideal, that time interval? What takes place? Huh? Yes, comparison and all the rest. What actually takes place if you observe?
Ignore the present.
Huh?
We ignore the present.
You ignore the present, then what else? Huh? It is a contradiction. It leads to hypocrisy. Right? I am angry, and the ideal says don't be angry. And I am suppressing, controlling, conforming, approximating myself to the ideal, and therefore I am always in conflict and pretending. The idealist is obviously a pretending person. So that goes on. And also, in this division, there is conflict. There are other factors come into being.
Why aren't we allowed to remember our former lives? Our evolution would be much easier.
Why aren't we allowed to remember our former lives? It would be so much easier. Would it? Oh Lord. What do you mean former life? The life of yesterday, in 24 hours ago? Last incarnation, which is 100 years ago? How would it make it easier? You would have the memory, please follow it step by step. You would have the memory of that which you did or didn't do, suffered, all the rest of it, 100 years ago, which is the same as yesterday. Exactly the same as yesterday. Yesterday, you did many things which you regret, which you like, from which you had pain and despair, sorrow, and that is that memory of all that. And you have the memory of 1,000 years, which is essentially the same as yesterday. Why call that the incarnation and not the incarnation of yesterday, which is being born today? You see, we don't like that. We don't like that. Because we think we are extraordinary beings, or we have time to grow, to become, reincarnate. And what reincarnates, you have never looked at, which is your memory. Nothing sacred, holy about it. Your memory of yesterday is being born today in what you're doing. The yesterday is controlling what you're doing today. And the 1,000 years of memories is operating through yesterday and through today. So there is constant incarnation of the past. Don't think this is a very clever way out of it. Very logical explanation. But when one sees the whole importance of memory and its utter futility of it, then we will never talk about incarnating. So let's see. We're asking what action is. Is action ever free, spontaneous, immediate? Or is action always bound by time, which is thought, which is memory? Yes, sir.
Yesterday I was watching a cat catching a mouse. Spontaneously, she doesn't think that's a mouse. Immediately, she instinctively catches it. So it seems to me we must also spontaneously act.
So, not we must,
Yeah.
if we should. So please, I think we will never talk we should, we must, when we understand the time element essentially. Look, please. We are asking ourselves, not verbally, not intellectually, but deeply, inwardly, what is action? Is action always time-binding? That means action born out of a memory, out of fear, out of despair, is always time-binding. And is there an action which is completely free, and therefore free of time?
So, this about the snake you see, and I come back again about the snake. You say, I see the snake.
I see.
See, it grows with action. But life is not so simple. And there is not only one snake, but two snakes may be in two different ways. So this becomes like a mathematical problem, and time then takes place.
Right. You are saying we live in a world of tigers, which is your world. They're all tigers. And we live in that world. One doesn't meet only one tiger, but a dozen tigers in human forms who are brutal, violent, avaricious, greedy, each one pursuing his own particular delight and all the rest of it. We live in that world. And to beat that world and to act in that world, you need time. To kill one tiger by another, one after the other, you need time. And the tiger is myself in me. There are a dozen tigers in me. And you say to get rid of one of those tigers one by one, you need time. That's what we are questioning altogether. We have accepted that it requires time, that is gradually. Kill one snake after the other, which is in me. The me is the you. The you, with your tigers, with your serpents, with your all the rest of it, is also the me. And I am saying, we'll say, I'll kill one animal after the other which is in me. And there are 1,000 me's in me, 1,000 animals, 1,000 snakes. And by the time I've killed them all, I'm dead. So is there a way? Do please listen to it. Don't answer it. Find out, is there a way of getting rid of all the snakes at once, not gradually? Can I see the danger of all the animals, all the tigers, all the snakes, all the contradictory business in me, and be free of it instantly? If I cannot do it, then there is no hope for me. I can pretend all kinds of it, but if I cannot wipe away all this which is in me, immediately I am slave forever. Whether I am born next life or 10,000 lives. So I have to find a way of acting, looking, that brings to an end the instant of perception, brings to an end the particular dragon, the particular monkey in me. No matter, no, please, this is really an extraordinary question. You can't just say yes, do this or don't do that, be this or be that. This requires tremendous inquiry going in. Don't tell me, please, do it. Don't tell me that you have got it or that you should do this. That doesn't interest me. I want to find out. No, please, not if. Madam, why do you translate what has been said in a very simple language? Why do you translate in your own words? Why can't you see what is being said? We have got many animals in us, many dangers, and can I be free of them all at one perception, seeing it immediately? You may have done it, madam. I am not questioning whether you have done it or not. That would be impudence on my part. But I am asking, how is this possible?
When I observe this action, it seems to me that we have to distinguish two moments about the problem of how to pass from perception to action. We have to distinguish two parts in the action. There is first, let's say, the inner part of the decisional part of action, which can take place immediately after the perception. This part can take place and must take place, we are told after the problem, immediately after perception. But for the outer action, the action upon the outer world, we need time, certainly.
To go from here there, yes.
Yes, we need time, and that's the problem. To have a sort, say, of fidelity from the outside action to the inside action to the decision that has been taken immediately after the perception. I use the word decision, that's a banal way, but I think that in one sense, in usual life, decision means this inner action. The problem is then a problem of fidelity of what I shall do in the future with many instruments in the time, fidelity to what I perceive and conceive immediately in the perception moment.
Yes, sir.
Here, this bridge between the two actions is, I think, the problem of language. That's the problem. The problem of transmission of what has been understood immediately after perception, what has been done in the time. And here, the language, the words, unfortunately, have to be used to this transmission.
I understand, sir. I think we'll... The questioner says, you need time outwardly to act, to do, to go from here there, to learn a language, and so on. So there is outward action that needs time, and the inward action, which is perception and action. In that interval between perception and action inwardly, he says, there is decision. The instant of making complete decision, saying, do it. And the questioner says, how is this inward action with its decision, perception, and action immediately to be bridged over to the other action which needs time? Is the question clear? Is this right? Yes. I don't, if I may point out, I do not think it requires a bridge. There is no bridging over or connecting the two. I'll show you what I mean. I realize very well and very clearly to go from here to there needs time. To learn the language needs time. To do anything physically needs time. Is time necessary inwardly? If I can understand the inward necessity or not necessity of time, then I will deal with the time element in the outer world rightly and not let that interfere with the inward state. So I'm beginning not with the outer, because I recognize the outer needs time. But I'm asking myself whether the inward action, perception, inward perception, decision, action, is there time at all there? Therefore I'm asking, is decision necessary at all? Decision being an instant part of time. A second or point second, which means decision. I decide to do it. I decide means there is an element of time. Decision is based on will, desire. And all that implies time. So, I'm asking, why should decision enter into this at all? Or that decision is part of my conditioning which says, oh boy, you must have time. So is there an action? Is there perception and action without decision? That is, I am aware of fear, the seeing of fear in me. Fear brought about by thought, by past memories, experiences, the incarnation of that yesterday's fear into today. I'm aware of it. It is, I have understood the whole nature, the structure, the inwardness of fear. And the seeing of it without decision is action, which is the freedom from it. Is this possible? Don't say yes, I have done it, or you have done it, and somebody else has done it. That's not the point. Can this fear end instantly on its arising? There is the superficial fear, which is the fear of the world, and the world is a lot of tigers living in it, and those tigers which are part of me, they are going to destroy. Therefore there is a war between me, a part of the tiger, and the rest of the tigers. Then there is fear of inward fear, which is not being psychologically secure, psychologically not being certain, all brought about by thought. As thought breeds pleasure, thought breeds fear. I see all that, and I see the danger of fear, as I see the danger of a snake, a precipice, deep running water. I see the danger completely. And the very seeing is the ending, without the interval of even though of the slightest second of decision.
Sometimes you can recognize the fear and then you still have the fear.
Sometimes you can recognize fear and you still have fear. Madam, one has to go into this very carefully. See, first of all, I don't want to get rid of fear. I don't want to suppress it, understand it, let it flow, let it come, explode in me, and all the rest of it. I don't know anything about fear. I know I'm afraid. Now I want to find out at what level, at what depth I am afraid, consciously or at the very root of my being, at the deep levels of my being, in the caves, in the unexplored regions of my mind. I want to find out. I want it all to come out, exposed. So how shall I do that? And I must do it not gradually, you understand? It must come out of my being completely.
the rest of the sample with the tigers, with 1,000 tigers. If I on the ground, I can only kill one after another. If I move with a plane and kill them.
Not if, sir. Please, it is no good if I should fly and I will see the beauty of the earth. I can't fly. I'm here. I'm afraid these theoretical questions have no value at all. And apparently we don't realize that. I'm hungry, and you're feeding me with theories. Go into an aeroplane and look down from top, and you'll see you have no hunger. Here is a problem, sir. Do please look at it all, because we're all afraid. Everyone has fear of some kind or another. We are saying the very perception of it is the ending of it. And we said what it means to perceive, in which there is no getting rid. Not saying I'm decide to be against fear, suppress it and all the rest of it. Perception is free. And being free, you can look. And that look ends fear. Totally, completely, inwardly. Now we're going to show it, we're going to go into it. There are deep hidden fears. And I am very well aware of the superficial fears. The fears of the world, the fears that arise out of losing a job, or this and that, losing my wife, my son, all that. I know all that very well. Perhaps there are deeper layers of fears. Now, how is this mind to expose all that instantly? What do you say? Oui, oui, je
Vous dites que la libre perception détruit la haine, si l'on peut ainsi s'exprimer. Je crois que nous avons tous l'expérience d'avoir chassé la haine pour une minute, pour une heure, pour une journée. Mais nous avons également l'expérience que cet animal, lorsqu'on le chasse par la porte, revient rapidement par la fenêtre. La question qui ne m'apparaît pas clairement est la suivante. Est-ce que il s'agit, selon vous, disons, est-ce que selon vous, il y aurait une possibilité de faire disparaître complètement et à jamais cet animal, ou cette ménagerie, ou bien pensez-vous qu'on peut, en quelque sorte, le chasser chaque fois entièrement, mais le chasser de plus en plus fréquemment?
Exactly. Can the animal, the question says, can the animal be completely chased out forever? The animal being fear. Or you must, it comes back and you chase it, it comes back and you chase it, play this game. According to you, you are suggesting that it is possible to chase the animal away entirely forever. And not chase the animal one day and let it come back the next day. Right, sir? Say, sir. That's what we are saying. I don't want to chase the animal repeatedly. I'm bored with that. That's what all the schools, all the saints and all the religions and psychologists and all chase it away little by little. It doesn't mean a thing to me. I want to find out how to chase the animal away so it will never come back. Right? Never. And when it comes back, I know what to do. I won't let it enter into the house to be chased away. You understand? So I'm going. Beg your pardon? Huh? The animal is thought. We'll see. I don't know what to do. We'll see. How you're all so eager. Madam, eager to answer, I don't mean that way. Of course we have to be eager. But look, please, this is such a difficult subject. You can't just say, throw in a lot of words. This requires care. And it's hot. And I'm doing all the work.
Why don't we actually do perception right now?
That's what I'm proposing.
Now, what happens if I look at you? First thing, I get a presentation of you, don't I? With my eyes.
Sir.
Oh, wait, let me finish, please. Let me finish. When I look at you, would you do it, please, sir? Would you look at me? The first thing that happens is a presentation visually of me, right? Then, what happens? Thought happens about the presentation.
Right, sir. That's what that lady was saying, exactly the same thing. Thought. Thought is the animal. Stick to that animal, please. Don't say it's the animal is thought, the self, the me, the ego, the fear, the greed, the envy, and then go back to another description of it. That animal, we say, is all this. And we see that animal cannot be chased gradually out. Because it will always come back in different forms. And being somewhat aware, I say how stupid all this is. This constant chasing of the animal. It's coming back and chasing out. So I want to find out if it is possible to chase it so completely away it will never come back. Oh, yes, sir.
I see different functions with different velocities in my inner functions. If I follow a function with another function, it is velocity, yeah? But I see many velocities in my inner functions. There are many times. If I follow an emotion with idea, it is nothing. But if I see all these velocities, I must see with all, but it is possible.
I've understood it. So it's the same thing you're putting in different words. For the love of Pete. Yes, I understand, sir. We have understood. Please don't translate the same thing in different words.
Excuse me, you started to give an explanation before but was interrupted, and I would like that thought completed. You began to say before that you did not want to get rid of the fear at all, and then somebody asked something and I did not...
I said to you, first of all, I don't want to get rid of the animal. I don't want to chase him out. before I take the whip or the velvet glove, I want to know who is chasing him out. Perhaps it may be a bigger tiger, or a bigger gorilla that's chasing him out. So I say, please, to myself, I don't want to chase anything out. See the importance of it.
Chasing out might mean your eventual death then.
No, I don't know. I am not going to go slow, so let me... I don't want to chase the animal out. I say, before I chase the animal out, I want to find out who is the entity that's going to chase it. And I say, by Jove, it may be a bigger tiger. And if I want to get rid of all tigers, it's no good bigger tiger chasing the little tiger. So I say, but wait, I say, I don't want to chase anything out. See what is happening to my mind. I don't want to chase anything out, but I want to look. Right? No, you're not like that. Don't. I want to look. I want to observe. I want to be very clear whether the bigger tiger is chasing the little tiger. Then this game of the big and the little will go on forever. That's what's going on in the world. The tyranny of a particular country chasing the little. So I am very now aware, please follow this, I am very aware that I mustn't chase anything. I must root out this principle of chasing something out. Overcoming, dominating, deciding. Because the decision, maybe the big tiger says, I must get rid of that tiny little tiger who will grow into big tiger. So then there must be complete cessation of all decision, of all the urge to get rid of something, chase away anything. Then I can look. Then I say to myself, I mean this verbally, I won't chase anything away. Therefore, I am free of the burden of time. Right? I am free, the mind is free of the burden of time, which is to chase one tiger by another tiger. In that there is time interval. And so I say, by Jove, this takes place. Therefore I won't do a thing, I won't chase, I won't act, I won't decide. I must first look. And I'm looking. I mean, not the ego, but the mind is looking. The brain is watching. And my question then is, I can spot the various little tigers, the mother tiger with its cubs and the husband. I can watch all that, but there must be deeper things inside me, and I want them all exposed. And so I expose them through action, through doing, getting more and more and more angry, and then calming down, another week later getting more angry, and then calming down. Or is their way of looking at all the tigers, little one, the big one, the just being born, all of them. Can I watch them all so completely I've understood the whole business. And if I'm not capable of that, then my life will go on in the old routine, the bourgeois way, the complicated, the stupid, the cunning way. That's all. It's nearly 11:45, good Lord. So if you will kindly listen, not agreeing or disagreeing, but just listen. And if you know how to listen, the morning sermon is over. Remember that story of a master speaking to his disciple every morning. One day he gets on the rostrum, and a little bird comes and sits on the windowsill and begins to sing. And the master lets it sing. And after a while it sings and flies away. And the master says to the disciple, "This morning's sermon is over.